hate girl, I hate girl, I hate, nope. I said I was gonna do a different theme song. Well, I said second, third episode. So let's see. Hey girl, hey. No, that's whack. That's like slow jam. This is not a slow jam type of podcast. I'm gonna just keep it. I hate girl, I hate girl, I hate girl. Okay, doing the most every single time. Thank y'all for joining me again on Hey Girl, it's Allyson podcast. It's so good to finally be back. I know I took a break and I was just kind of like trying to deal. If you caught my episode, my last episode starting off season 2, I got into it a little bit, but not a whole lot. But I just had to take a step back because I'm not the kind of person, I don't have the personality where I can be enduring something and seeing what's going on around me in the world and still be able to progress forward. Like I need time to step back and kind of reflect, remember who's really in charge, and understand that because it's not in my control does not mean that life is over, right? Because I know I have a control issue. I know I like to try to keep everything within my locus of control, as they say, but then sometimes I pull in things that are not within my locus of control. So I took breaks from social media. I took a big break from my business, but was still building it, still coming up with ideas, still talking with people, working with people who work with people with small businesses, and just really trying to get this thing rooted and grounded because I feel like I kind of fell off. I believe that I was focused on the wrong things. I was focused on who was watching. I was so concerned with, who was going to see it. What should I say? What shouldn't I say? Afraid to offend people, afraid that people wouldn't understand. But if you're tuning into this podcast, you're here for a reason. If you're continuing to come back, if you're here for season 2 and you listen to parts of season 1, there's something there. You know what I mean? So there's a reason that I keep going, but I can't be focused on the people aspect of it, even though you all are very important to me because you're the ones that I want to help. You are the women that are the leaders of tomorrow. You're the ones that are going to make the difference and the changes in the world and in your families. So that matters. But caring about how many numbers I have and always looking at the data, it'll drive you crazy. You know what I mean? I feel like since we've been on quarantine, it's really driven a whole lot of people crazy, if we're being real, So it's been good to just kind of step back, refocus, revive, rekindle the flame, all these words, you know what I mean? So we are back on air. We're back live. So I'm glad you're still rocking with me. We in season 2. I thought to continue season 1, but I said, no, we've refocused. It's so much more going on. There's so much more revelation I've gotten. There's so much more just peace of mind that I've gotten and things that I don't care about as much as I did before. And so now I'm flowing from a more free place, and I'm flowing from a place that's not constrained by my thoughts, constrained by what I think you're thinking or what I think other people are thinking. Now we're focused more on the message and making sure that you're getting everything that you need, and making sure that I'm the vessel that can receive it the way that I need to receive it, making sure that it's not coming out skewed, making sure that it's not coming out biased, making sure that the message I give is just straight, direct to the point, and the impact of it simply is you get what you need. I help you through my testimonies. I help you through my transparency and moving forward in that, So I learned a long time ago, God told me that transparency was my ministry, and I haven't used it as much as I know I should have. And so season 2 is all about that. Season 2, I'm inviting you into my world. Whether I'm going through it, whether I went through it, I'm inviting you in because I know there are lessons along the way that I've learned that I know can help somebody else, because I know I'm not the only one. All right. So with all of that being said, thank you for staying around, staying tuned for my little update. We are getting right into the topic of today. So today's title, Queen Petty steps away. Queen Petty loses her crown. And if you're wondering, who is Queen Petty? I, it was I, me, I was Queen Petty. I remember back in high school, my junior year, I had friends, but I feel like we learn as we grow up that people we thought were really our friends were really people that we shouldn't have been around in the first place, right? So the people I was hanging around back in my junior year of high school, they would tease me a lot about different things. If I was overweight, they teased me about being too big. When I lost weight, they teased me about being too small. It was just a whole lot going on. And so I allowed it to happen. I didn't really have comebacks. I didn't really say much in return. I just kind of let people say whatever they wanted to say, even though it was hurting me. So my senior year, I got a little bold, not a little bold, I got very bold. I was ready with my comebacks. And my heart had shifted in a way that it was hardened toward the people like my friends that I was interacting with. So when I say hardened, it means that whenever I would encounter them, I would think about all of the conversations we may have had in the past about personal things or things I saw going on. And I would use that. I started to store it away in my little file cabinet, my little petty cabinet. And I would pull those things out whenever I needed to get back at them for saying something they said to me. So it got to the point, it was so bad that they would say, dang, we make little jokes about Allyson, and it's kind of surface level, but then she come back telling my son, well, your dead grandma ugly. Like I never said that. Let's clear that up. I never said that. But the level of comeback that I was on was from a place of pain, and it was from a place of frustration. And I was coming at it. Like I knew how to I taught myself how to make people feel invisible when I was upset with them. I learned how to, like I said, store away things in my petty cabinet so that if you did try to come for me, I knew how to pull on that and I knew how to shut you up. And that's what I had acquired. That was a skill to me that I had acquired, that you weren't going to talk about me too much because I'll shut it all down. Period. Point blank. That's who I was. I had declared myself Queen Petty. I knew what to say to you to shut your mouth. And so my heart got hardened. And over when I got to college, it really got worse. I remember there was a time, I think I told this story before, season 1, but I can't remember. There was a girl, she was my best friend at the time. We were best friends in high school. The best friendship started to get tested our freshman year. And so we were in the cafeteria. I was dating this guy. I was just so excited to be dating this guy. And so we were in choir, and then we went to the cafeteria all together. Of course, we didn't leave nobody behind because you don't do that. You don't leave nobody behind and eating the calf without anybody else. But we went to the cafeteria, and I think it might have been Fried Chicken Wednesdays or something. So good. Love Fried Chicken Wednesday. So we get in there, and I had gotten food. And freshman 15, it's a real place. So I was close to freshman 20. And we sat down at the table. My boyfriend was with me. We had other friends there or whatever. And we were sitting at the table. And my best friend at the time, she started to call me fat. She was like, yeah, I see you got all that food, fatty. I see you got all that food on your plate. Do you need any more food on your plate, fatty? And she was saying it in front of people. And so automatically, I flipped. I went through my petty files. I switched my mind. I put on my petty crown to become petty queen. I started searching through the files in my mind. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the show Sherlock, but there's this episode, I think like season 2 or season 3, where they face this guy who has dirt on everybody. And the dirt is not stored in like a physical place. It's stored up here, right? So when he's talking to Sherlock at one point, and he starts naming out people that Sherlock knows, and he's just closing his eyes and he's going through the files in his mind. So I was like that guy, right? I'm going through the files in my mind. Okay, here's my best friend's file. Let's see, what does she not like people to talk about with her? Okay, her weight. Okay, she's a little hairy. Okay. She doesn't like people to talk about how she doesn't have a man. Bingo. Let's go there. I'm sitting in front of my boyfriend. You're trying to hurt me, and you're trying to talk about me and embarrass me in front of my boyfriend. Let's talk about the fact you don't have a man. So I politely closed my case files, my petty files, and I read it through. In my mind, I wrote out what I was going to say, And I let her have it at the time. I said, well, at least I have a man to enjoy it. And you know what she did? She shut her mouth very quickly, got her things, got up, and she left. And I was satisfied in that moment. I was satisfied because to me at the time, of course, at the time when my heart was hardened, getting harder, you're not going to embarrass me. And you think that I'm not going to say anything. I let you and I let other people throughout high school do this to me for majority of my life. I was teased. I was talked about. I was called white girl. I was told I wasn't pretty. I was told all of these things. So in my mind, I had had enough. I had reached the end. You weren't going to keep talking about me, and I wasn't going to say anything to you in return. So said all of that. Knew she was upset, but I was impressed because to me, you're not going to disrespect me. Now, what she said was unnecessary, but what I said was unnecessary as well. But at the time, I felt it was very necessary. So I get back to the room and I'm with a few other friends, and she had written me a note, a letter. And the letter said, I'm sorry for what I said in the cafeteria. I probably shouldn't have said it. You know, when people bring up that I don't have anybody, that really hurts my feelings and it really hurts me to my core that you would say that. And I wasn't caring about this letter because in my mind, I was still wearing the petty crown. But in my mind, you're not going to come for me, as people say, and I didn't send for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's that whole petty mentality. So throughout undergrad, throughout my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, I was very petty. I knew how, back then when Facebook, was really just coming out, you could get on Facebook and you would read somebody's status and they would read somebody for filth on the status, but they would never say a name. They would never say the place, any of that. You wouldn't know who they were talking about if you didn't know the situation. I was the best at that. When I tell you I was the best, I could write a whole paragraph and a half about someone, never mention their name, never mention the situation, but I'm going to call you out on everything you've been doing. I'm going to call you out on everything that you are, and you're going to know I'm talking about you. Other people not going to know, but other people are going to think that you're the filth of the world. They're going to think you're the scum of the earth. And I was good at that because I had hardened my heart to the point where I wasn't caring about people's feelings because I felt that for majority of my life, people weren't caring about mine. So we get to my junior year, fast forward, get to my junior year, and I had changed roommates. I was in a different room. I wasn't with my best friend anymore. We weren't best friends anymore at that time. And the girl I was rooming with, I can't even remember what happened, but she had done something that I just wasn't happy with. And I had put upon my petty crown and I took out my phone. I was getting ready to go on Facebook. Now, a few weeks prior to this, I had really given my life to God. Like I was like, God, I want you to fix me. I want you to change my heart. I don't want my heart to be so hard anymore. That was what I told God because I knew that at the core of who I was, that wasn't a part of me. That wasn't a part of my unique design, was to be somebody that tore people down, even though I was torn down. And I think over time, based on the experiences that we go through, they kind of help to shape us into people that we were never meant to be. They help us shape personality traits that we were never meant to have. We may walk around like we hard and we rough and we're tough, but that was never our original design. And I talk about that a lot in season 1. I want you to go back if you haven't heard those, but there are so many traits that we take on out of defense of who we are, out of defense for ourselves, and we acquire them and we let them linger over time, and we say, well, that's just who I am. But it's really not. It's not a piece of who we are. And who I am today would not do the things that I did back then because I've continued to let Christ work on me and continue to work on my heart. So I given my life to Christ. Now, I did it when I was 12, but it's a difference between 12, I love Jesus, Jesus is my Savior, and like 18, 19, 20, Jesus is my Savior. Like you really making the decision for yourself because nobody's forcing you to go to church, right? So I remember she had made me so mad, and I stormed outside, took my phone with me, and I was about to make a status. I had put on my petty crown. I started to go through my files in my head. Let's see, my current roommate. Oh, I pulled the file out, began to look at the things that I had documented in my mind to say because I knew what could hurt her. Those are the things I did. And God stopped me. And I realized that I was trying to still walk down a path that he was trying to take me off of, which was being petty, which is being Queen Petty in my head. I wanted to be petty, but God has started to do a work in my heart that I literally fought it. Like in that moment outside, I never forget it. I just see myself now sitting outside. We had like these little steps, this pavilion, and we had these steps, and my dorm was right there. And I remember sitting on the top step of that pavilion on the grass. And I remember I had typed out half the status already. Like I was ready to post it and everything. And something was like, don't do that. And it broke me on the inside, because I was like, no, because she did A, B, C, and D, and she deserves it. And I know I could call her out, and I know I could hurt her the same way she hurt me. And something said, don't do it. That's not you anymore. That's not you. I'm changing your heart, Allyson. And I sat there and I cried, y'all. I cried. I cried for a good 20 minutes. I prayed. I was asking God to help me, because it was like, you know, it's that meme. I haven't seen it in a while. It's that meme where you're like trying to, that's what it is. Trying to control yourself from being petty. That was literally what I was doing in that moment. Like that meme is real. Like fighting, holding your hand, like I could be so petty right now. I can be petty right now. I can show the magnitude of my petty power right now. Like, and I know I use these voices, but like that's literally how it is. Like it's literally a fight within yourself between what you said you were going to do, what you said you were going to allow God to do, and who you've been. And so it's a struggle. It is a struggle, because I know pettiness is like, it's like the new thing now. Like, I'm gonna be petty. I'm a shade. That's what we call it. It's called shade now. Ooh, I'm gonna shade you. I'm gonna spill the tea on you. All of that. But when we turn and we say, this is who I'm going to be now, God, this is who I want you to help me to become, then God begins to hold us to that standard, because he didn't force us to do it. He's not the type that's about to force us, but he is going to hold us to our word. And if we do invite him in and he comes in, we can't be upset when he show up and he starts saying, no. Remember you said that you weren't going to do that anymore. Remember you said, and at times it can be very unfair, because we think that when we say to God, God, please change my heart. When we say, God, just please change my heart. Just please help my heart. We think that he's going to make it easy around us and just do an inner work that people don't have to experience. People will see the change in us, but we won't have to experience anything negative when we say, God, change my heart. Absolutely not. Okay? As soon as you say, God, change my heart, you know what God does? Okay, cool. And he begins to put things in front of us to help challenge us and to work that thing out of us. You think about a stain like on your favorite shirt, right? When you have a stain on your shirt, you don't just sit your shirt out and hope to God that it just magically disappears. No. If it's a stain, like a real stain, like something that's been there, sitting there for a while, like the pettiness that's on the inside, that was on the inside of me, when it's been sitting there for a while, there has to be a scrubbing. There has to be some type of real work put into that stain on that shirt, or real work that's put into that heart that's been made of stone to make it into a heart of flesh. It's a real working that takes place in order for that stain to be removed. And so when we say, God, I want you to change me, I want you to make my heart better, it's not that he's going to make everything peace around you. No, he has to work that thing out of you continuously. It is a work. And when I asked God to change my heart, it didn't happen immediately. This is from what I remember, this is the first time that I struggled with it and I had passed the test. Because sometimes he'll send tests along the way and he said, whoop, she ain't passed that one. Let me send another situation. Whoop, he ain't passed that one. Let me send another situation. Whoop, she ain't get it. Why she ain't get it? If she just get this and she just understand that she don't need to do all of that, then we ain't got to deal with this no more. She ain't got to deal with these petty people no more. You know what I mean? So We think that everything is supposed to be roses around us as God is dealing with us and getting rid of some of the things that have been so finely ingrained in us for such a long period of time. You know, you think about weight loss. God, I want you to help me with my weight loss plan. This weight did not come on overnight. This weight wasn't something I just picked up and decided to put on. No, this weight is something that I accumulated over time. And for me to think that I'm just going to do sit-ups in a day and I'm going to have abs tomorrow is absolutely insane, right? It's not true. That's not going to happen. So we have to understand that God is not going to make the situations around us any easier. They're going to get harder because he's working something out of us. He's putting us in situations and giving us the chance and the choice to make the decision to be different, to handle the situation differently. And it hurts sometimes because while we're going through our stuff, we're hoping that everybody else just kind of stops what they're doing. And we're hoping that everybody else, wants their heart to be worked on too. But that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. And we're hoping that people will have mercy and people will stop doing this once we, say, Lord, help me on this, help me with this struggle I'm going through. And God is like, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to challenge you and I'm going to give you the tools that you need. So we have the word of God. We have, basically making the right decision. If we know we need a heart change, that means we know the stuff that we're doing doesn't show that we have a good heart. So we have to start doing the opposite, So in that walk, we're thinking that everybody else is going to kind of calm down. But it almost seems like the fire is turned up. And we say to ourselves, why do I have to be the bigger person? Right? Why do I have to be the one that's the bigger person in situations? And God is saying, because that's the standard that you are holding yourself to. That's the standard that when you say you want to be in a relationship with me, that's the standard that I'm holding you to. I'm holding you to a standard of loving your neighbor as you love yourself. I'm holding you to a standard where you speak to everyone with kind words and not speaking to people so harshly to bring them into the knowledge of who I am. You can't attract people to the kingdom. You can't attract people to Jesus if you always barking at them and going off on them. What does that help? It doesn't help anything. You know what I mean? So we get frustrated because we say, why do I have to be the bigger person? Why can't I be petty as they are petty? If we're saying love your neighbor as yourself and they're being petty, why can't I be petty unto my neighbor as I am petty unto myself? You know what I mean? Why can't I exchange that word, Lord? Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. And it's hard because when we say we want to do better, we kind of hope that people will just fall into place where we want them to fall into place. But other people have their struggles too. Just like we have a struggle with getting our hearts together, we have a struggle with getting, our mindsets together. Other people have struggles too. And then the thing with their struggles, if they haven't chosen to surrender them or they haven't chosen to set themselves up to a higher standard, then they're going to continue to operate in the way they were. And the only reason it's rubbing you the wrong way on a deeper level is because you're working on your response. And that's hard. That is so hard to say to yourself, I have to hold it together while you get to act a fool. No. I can't do it, but you can do it. And I know it's hard. And what triggered this week is me and my husband, we had a little tick for tat this week. And it's a situation I'm not going to get too deep into, but it was a situation that was hurtful to me. And what my response used to be was I would check out mentally and I would think about like all these far-fetched stuff. So I would be like, well, if I was with so-and-so, he wouldn't hurt me. And I'm telling my business, y'all, and I'm being open and I'm being honest. I'm being transparent. I would sit and I'd be like, well, if I was with so-and-so, he wouldn't do this to me. And then I would just dream and detach myself from reality to think about flirting with A, B, and C person, to think about a person from my past, just to kind of check out because I didn't want to deal with the hurt and the pain. But not too long ago, God started to really reveal to me that me checking out like that was not healthy. Me checking out and picturing myself with other people, that was not of God. And it wasn't It was not connected to the covenant that I had made before God. And I'm going to get into this in another podcast, especially when it comes to marriage, right? So when he hurt me this week, I wanted to check out. I wanted to do what I had done before. I wanted to go off into La La Land and put myself in this dream world with a different dream person. But I couldn't do that. And even though we had talked about, this is not the first time that the situation with my husband had come up, it was like, okay, he's still not working as tough on this as I am on this. And if he can do that, why can't I do this? And I felt convicted because my journey with God is different from his journey. I can't be held responsible for my response. No, let me take that back. I am responsible for my response to whatever happens, whatever he does, because I set a standard for myself. I stood before God and I made a vow of what I would and what I would not do. And not only that, because I know my personality, I had to get a hold on that daydreaming spirit, because if I did not, the daydreaming could lead me to a place I didn't want to go, and could really wreck my marriage, and could really wreck my friendship, my parenting with my children. It could really wreck it if I didn't get a hold of it. So the standard that I had set myself to, I still had to uphold. When I go before God and God says, why did you do A, B, and C? I can't say, well, did you check on Quincy's page 4,722 when he did this? Well, that's directly connected to this. God not about to be flipping through the pages to justify my foolishness. No, he's going to say, but what did you say you were going to do? You vowed that you would love. You vowed in sickness and in health. You made that vow before me. I'm holding you to what you said you would do, not to what your husband said he would do. And so when we're going through life and we're experiencing these trials where maybe you're Queen Petty, maybe you're the one that's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of person, we have to remember that even though they may do A, what did I tell God I was going to do? What is God expecting of me? If I know, and it's not a slavery type of mentality, but I have a relationship with God and I want to always put my best foot forward. Even if my best foot forward is still as filthy rags, we talk about that all the time. Even if my best foot forward is still as filthy rags, I'm still going to try my best to be my best for someone that I say I love, which is God. And if I say that I love God, then that means that I have to do what I need to do to improve myself so that our relationship can continue to grow. And that's with any relationship, but especially between you and God. And so when you're saying, I'm going to be this person, I'm going to work on, like I said, I'm going to work on not being petty. When someone else is petty to me, that doesn't mean I get my petty crown again and go back into my files. No, that means that I hold myself to a higher standard. And even if it hurts, even if it drives me to tears, to literally fight my flesh and fight the habitual nature that I have to be petty, I have to fight the fight because I have to win. Not just because I love them, not because they're my friend, but because I love God. And it's not always about the other person. It's about what you said you were going to do. And even if you don't believe in God, even if you are working on setting yourself to a higher standard, not lowering yourself, not bringing yourself down for other people. Like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. So even if you're working on that concept of when they go low, I go high, it's still the standard that you set yourself, you set up for yourself. And you have to continue to ensure that it's attainable. And it's attainable when you try every single day and you don't give up just because somebody did A, B, C, or D. You know what I mean? So it's always good to set a standard for yourself. So I challenge you this week to set a new standard for yourself. What is something that you're doing that you know is not you, that you know is not a part of who you are? When you do it, you don't feel right. When you do it or you say things that are in that same vein, you go home and it just kind of bothers you. What are those things? And I challenge you to set a higher standard for yourself and to attain that. Now, it's going to come back around and it's going to keep being a test until you continue to pass it. And even after you pass it, it may come back again just to ensure. Like as a teacher, I may take a test 1 year, but then 2 years later, I got to take it again to make sure I didn't forget what I learned, to make sure I didn't waste my time, to make sure I wasn't just out here playing and that I was really focused on what I said that I was going to do as a teacher. So I encourage you to do that this week. I know for me, lately, that has been a challenge, just making sure that I stay committed to what I said I was going to do. It's not about what they said they were going to do. It's not about what they do to me. It's about my response, and it's about what I said I was going to do differently in my life for me to become a better person. That's what it's about. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you for listening to me. Quick announcement before we move on for my moms that are listening. Listen, we've been going through it, ladies. Have we not? Have we not been going through it, being in quarantine with the kids? Now, we love our kids, but you can't say they ain't drove you crazy, because I know my 3-year-old twins have driven me up a wall, almost every other day, almost every day, but it's fine, right? And in that, I felt alone, and I felt like I was a failure at times. There have been multiple times I've cried about how my kids are responding to my parenting. And so I realized after family came down to visit me last week, I realized that I wasn't alone in that. And of course, you're not alone. Of course, there's people you can call. Your kids do the same thing to your husband. And, you see it happening other places, but to really see it with another child or another parent saying and doing the same things that you're doing and the kid's still not listening, it kind of gave me hope in a crazy type of way to let me know that I wasn't alone in this walk and in this journey of motherhood. And so with that being said, because of that relief I felt, I said to myself, if I felt alone in my journey of being a mom, other moms have to feel the same way. You have to be looking at your kids and saying to yourself at the end of the day, what did I do wrong when they were 1? What did I do wrong when they were 6 months? How is this going to impact them when they're 18? We go through all of those motions and all of those thought processes as a mom. And so I want to help give you some relief. So I'm starting something called Mom Chats. Mom Chats is free. You just have to register on my site, heygirlintl.com. It'll pop up on the banner. Click on it, register. We'll share funny stories. We'll share funny things our kids have done for the week. We'll ask some serious questions, have some real talk conversations like we're doing now. And then I give you an encouraging word to help you get through the next week. And then that next Saturday, we do it all over again. Because I want to be there for you the same way other people have been there for me. You are not alone. You are not crazy. And you are not doing anything wrong. This is just parenting. You know what I'm saying? So I invite you to join me if you are a mom, if you know a mom, if you have a mom, whatever, motherhood for life, hashtag mom life, hashtag mom guilt, all of that. If that sounds like something you like to be a part of, it is free. You don't even have to come every week. You don't have to stay the whole time. But I just want to offer you the same relief that I got this weekend. All right. Thank y'all for joining me on Hey Girl. Hey Girl. Hey, 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 hey. No, I tried it, but it didn't work. All right. Thank y'all for joining me.